A car sometimes defines your entire identity, at least in your son's eyes. Parking lot at Tech Vision Solutions building in Palo Alto, California, showing new Teslas, Porsches, and Mercedes, shiny and expensive. And my car is a 1998 BMW 5 Series, 21 years old, with faded gray color and scratched bumper, but the engine is perfect where it runs and works. I park and get out as three young men in suits are watching, where they smile with slight smile and mocking smile. My son Marcus comes over in a hurry with tense face showing embarrassment. "Dad," he whispers, "why didn't you take a taxi?" This car is so old where everyone here drives a Tesla. A Tesla? I prefer the BMW because it's reliable and familiar. "Marcus, the car works and there's no problem," I state. "But Dad, people will see. What will they think?" he questions. What will they think? The man who drives an old car is the poor man and the unsuccessful man, right, Marcus? "Okay, son, I'm sorry, and next time I'll take a taxi," I agree. We walk inside into the lobby, bright lobby with glass walls and modern art where the receptionist is pretty and young. "Who are you visiting, sir?" she asks. Marcus answers, "I'm just showing my dad the office. I'm Marcus Blackwell, business analyst." The receptionist looks at the screen and types my name. "Mr. Blackwell? Thomas Blackwell?" "Yes," I say. "That's me." Her face changes with shock. "Sir, we weren't expecting you. I'll let Mr. Chen know right away." Marcus freezes. "What do you mean? Why does the boss need to be told? My dad's just a visitor." 5 minutes pass when the elevator doors open showing David Chen, CEO, 59 years old, my former partner and my former friend. "Thomas!" He runs and hugs me. "My friend! Why didn't you tell me beforehand?" Marcus is open-mouthed, frozen, and watching. David looks at me, then at Marcus. "Marcus, I don't think you know your father's role in the company, so come and let's talk in the conference room, where the executives should meet you and your father." And that's when Marcus's face turns white because he understands that poor dad and dad who drives an old car is actually someone else. That's me, Thomas Blackwell, 64 years old and one of the founders of Tech Vision Solutions. But Marcus didn't know that because I never told him. And now he'll find out in the lobby in front of the executives, where he'll find out embarrassed. Because sometimes the biggest lessons come with embarrassment. If these kinds of stories interest you and you want to listen real stories about family dramas and hidden pasts, please subscribe because every day we share these kinds of shocking stories about real people, real secrets, and real lessons. Every success starts with a small dream, and mine started in a computer lab. My name is Thomas Blackwell, and I'm 64 years old. But the story started 30 years ago in 1989 when I was 34 years old. Boston, Massachusetts, where I was an MIT graduate in computer engineering, class of 1983. And my first job was at IBM as software engineer with good job and good salary. But it was routine and boring as a big company with slow procedures and no creativity where I wanted more. In 1987, I met David Chen, who was also an MIT graduate in electrical engineering, working at IBM in sales department. "Thomas," he said one day, "why don't we start our own company? A small software company with consulting and custom projects." "Isn't that risky, David?" "IBM is secure with secure salary," I questioned. "Yes, it's secure, but what about our dreams? Where are they? Are we going to retire at IBM or are we going to do something on our own?" He challenged. I thought about it where David was right because IBM was safe but ordinary, and dreams were elsewhere. "Okay, David, let's do it. But first I need to save some money because my wife Margaret is pregnant and we're having a baby," I agreed. July 1989 arrived when Marcus was born. My son Marcus, a little baby with brown hair and blue eyes. Perfect. Margaret held him in her arms. "Thomas, he's our future," and we'll give him a good life. Yes, Margaret, the best life with good education, opportunities, and everything, I promised. In 1990, Marcus was 1 year old when I left IBM, where Margaret was worried. Thomas, are you sure? You're leaving a secure job. I'm sure Margaret and David and I will do something good, I assured. January 1995 came when David and I founded Tech Vision Solutions, a small software company with consulting and custom solutions. The office was a basement in Palo Alto, a small room with 2 desks, 4 computers, and 8 employees, including David and me. Money was very little money, where the first 6 months brought no customers as we're burning through our savings, and Margaret is worried. Thomas, when will we start making money? Soon, Margaret. Be patient, because we're doing good work, and customers will come, I assured. August 1995 brought our first big customer, a tech company wanting custom software where the project was 6 months with fee of $250,000. David and I were very excited. Thomas, this is our chance. This project will save the company. I worked hard for 72 hours straight with coding, testing, debugging, and everything. Marcus is 6 years old. Daddy, why isn't he coming home? He asked Margaret. Because, baby, your dad is working on an important project, and he'll come home when it's done, she explained. The project was finished where the client was satisfied, and the payment arrived at $250,000. David exclaimed, Thomas, we did it. Our first big success. We celebrated with small celebration at the office. The office including pizza, beer, 8 employees, and happy team. The next 5 years brought growth slowly but steadily, where in 2000, we had 20 employees with annual revenue of $3 million as we were successful. Marcus grew up as a good kid who was smart and loved school. Dad, I want to learn computers like you. Great son, I'll teach you everything, I promised. In 2005, the company grew even more with 45 employees and annual revenue of $6 million, where David and I had equal partnership at 50-50. We moved to a new office, no longer a basement, but a real office building with 2 floors and modern setup. Margaret was happy. Thomas, I'm proud of you because from a small dream came a real company. Yes, Margaret, but we're not done yet and we'll grow more, I stated. In 2010, the company had 50 employees with annual revenue of $8 million, where I was 55 and David was 53 as successful businessmen. Marcus was 16 in high school as smart student. Dad, I want to apply to Harvard to study business. Great, Marcus. Harvard is excellent choice and we'll send you, I agreed. But then everything changed with a doctor's appointment with Margaret. October 2010 came when Margaret is 50 years old for routine checkup and annual exam. Dr. Patterson, our family doctor for 20 years, stated, Margaret, I saw something in the tests where I'm concerned and I want you to see an oncologist. An oncologist, a cancer specialist, made my heart stop. What? Cancer? It's not definite yet, Thomas, but the tests are suspicious in the pancreatic area and we need to have it checked, he explained. 2 weeks later, the results came from Dr. Morrison, the oncologist, with serious face. Margaret, Thomas, please sit down, because the results are in showing pancreatic cancer at advanced stage 3, he revealed. The world stopped as Margaret cried, and I froze because pancreatic cancer is the worst cancer with lowest survival rate. Treatment options, I asked. Chemotherapy, radiotherapy, maybe surgery. But Thomas, I have to be honest, because pancreatic cancer is very aggressive, where 5-year survival rate is 5%, he stated. 5% meant Margaret had a 95% chance of dying. How long? Margaret's voice trembled. Without treatment, 6 months, and with treatment, maybe 2 years, maybe less, he estimated. That night we came home silently, where Marcus was home. Mom, Dad, How did it go with the doctor? Margaret put on a brave face. Fine, sweetheart, just a routine checkup. But that night in bed, Margaret cried, Thomas, I'm dying, and Marcus is only 16, where he hasn't even started college yet. I held her tightly. Margaret, we'll fight, and we'll try everything because you're strong and you'll beat this. November 2010 came when chemotherapy began every week with tough treatment, where Margaret lost her hair, lost weight, and got very sick. I started spending less time at the company, where I was at home looking after Margaret and taking her to hospital appointments. David noticed, Thomas, are you okay? I don't see you much at the company. Margaret is sick, David, with cancer, pancreatic cancer, and I have to look after her, I explained. David was shocked. Thomas, I'm so sorry. What can I do? I don't know, David, but I'll be at the company less, and I'm sorry, I stated. Don't worry, Thomas. The company will manage and you take care of your family, he assured. In 2011, Margaret's condition worsened as the chemotherapy wasn't working, where the cancer was spreading to liver, lungs, and everywhere. Dr. Morrison stated, Thomas, I'm sorry, but the treatment isn't enough, so you should consider hospice care to make Margaret comfortable. Hospice meant end-of-life care and waiting for death. How long? I asked. Maybe 6 months, maybe less, he estimated. Marcus started at Harvard that year at 18 years old. Dad, I need to come home because Mom's sick and I can defer college. No, Marcus. Go to Harvard because your mother would want that, and you continue your education while I take care of your mother, I instructed. But Dad, he protested. Marcus, your mother's last wish is for you to succeed, so go, study, and succeed for us, I stated. Marcus left crying, but he left. I made a big decision about the company by calling David. David, we need to talk because it's important. We met at his office. Thomas, what's going on? David, I'm stepping down from the company and I'm selling my shares, I announced. He was shocked. What? Thomas, why? The company is our dream. I know, David, but Margaret is dying in her last days where I want to be with her every second, and the company can be yours, but I need to be with my wife, I explained. David cried, Thomas, I understand, but how much do you want for the shares? A fair price, David. My 40% share where the company is worth $8 million, so 40% is $3.2 million. So give it to me and I'm out, I stated. Thomas, that's too low because you're half the company and you deserve more, he protested. No, David. It's a fair price, so take it, use it, grow the company, and there's one condition, I added. What condition? He asked. A consulting agreement where I'm leaving the company, but I'll stay on as consultant with 1 meeting a year for strategy and a consulting fee that's annual and increases as the company grows, okay? I outlined. Of course, Thomas. You'll stay on as consultant always, and the fee will be generous, I promise. He agreed. December 2011 came when I sold my shares and got $3.2 million where I stepped down from the company officially. But I didn't tell anyone, and I didn't tell Marcus where I just said, I've left the company and I'm going to look after Margaret. Marcus questioned, Dad, is money a problem? Harvard is expensive and I can drop out. No, Marcus, money isn't a problem, so keep going and we'll manage, I assured. March 2012 arrived when Margaret took her last breath at home with hospice care where I was there holding her hand. Thomas, she whispered, take care of Marcus because he'll be alone and you're everything to him. I'll take care of him, Margaret, I promise, and Marcus will be fine, I assured. And you, don't be alone. Live your life and be happy, she instructed. Margaret, you are my happiness, and when you're gone, I started. Life goes on, Thomas, so live for me, please, she pleaded. Her last breath came, peaceful and quiet, as Margaret was gone where 23 years of marriage were over. The funeral was at Palo Alto Church where David came. Company employees came, along with friends and neighbors. Marcus cried loudly, "Mom, don't go, please." But she was gone where Margaret was gone, and we were left alone. Marcus returned to Harvard 2 weeks later. "Dad, I need to stay with you." "No, Marcus. Go back to Harvard because your mother would have wanted that, so go and I'm fine," I stated. A lie because I wasn't fine where I was alone, very alone. But I worked with $3.2 million that I invested in real estate, stocks, and bonds as smart investments. David called occasionally. "Thomas, how are you?" Loneliness must be hard. "I'm managing, David. How's the company?" I replied. "Good." "Thomas, we're growing with new clients, 60 employees now, and revenue at $12 million, he reported. "Great, David. I'm happy," I acknowledged. "Thomas, the consulting fee will be $500,000 this year because the company grew and you deserve it," he announced. $500,000 annually just for consulting. Generous. "Thank you, David. But I'm not telling Marcus where he doesn't need to know. Do you understand?" I stated. "Why, Thomas?" "He's your son and he should know," David questioned. "No, David. Marcus has to make it on his own. Where my past and my success he shouldn't know. So let him be humble, let him work hard, and let him earn it," I explained. "I understand, Thomas. It's your decision, and I respect that," he agreed. In 2014, Marcus graduated from Harvard with business degree and MBA at 26 years old. "Dad, I graduated. Now I need to find a job," he announced. "Congratulations, Marcus." "I'm proud of you. What kind of job do you want?" I asked. "A tech company, maybe consulting, maybe a startup," he considered. "Great choices, so apply and you'll find one," I encouraged. Marcus applied to many companies including Tech Vision Solutions, David's company, but without my reference and on his own. David called. "Thomas, Marcus applied with good resume showing Harvard MBA, so should I hire him?" "David, it's your call, but please don't tell him that I work at the company or who I am because Marcus should earn it on his own," I instructed. "Okay, Thomas, got it," he confirmed. June 2015 came when Marcus started work at Tech Vision Solutions as business analyst in entry-level position. "Dad, I got a job. Tech Vision Solutions in Palo Alto. Great company," he exclaimed. "Congratulations, Marcus." "I'm happy for you," I replied. "Starting salary is $75,000 as good money, and now I'm independent," he announced. "Great, son. I'm proud of you," I stated. But Marcus didn't know that Tech Vision Solutions was my company, mine and David's, but I didn't tell him, and I never told him. In 2016, Marcus got promoted at work to senior analyst with salary of $90,000. "Dad, I got promoted. More responsibility. Better pay," he announced. "Great, Marcus." "You work hard and you deserve it," I acknowledged. But something started to change in Marcus, including his attitude, his clothes, and his speech. He bought expensive clothes including Hugo Boss suits, Gucci shoes, and a Rolex watch. "Marcus, this is too expensive. Is your salary enough?" I questioned. "Dad, image is important because in the tech industry, appearance matters and I need to look professional," he justified. "I understand, but don't overspend and save money," I advised. "Don't worry, Dad. I'm managing," he assured. In 2017, Marcus got engaged to Olivia Reed, 28 years old, beautiful girl and lawyer from a wealthy family. "Dad, meet Olivia." "My fiancée," he introduced. Olivia was elegant with expensive dress and diamond ring, upper class. "Pleased to meet you, Olivia, and Marcus is very happy with you," I greeted. "Likewise, Mr. Blackwell, and Marcus talks about you a lot," she replied. "What does he say? The truth or his version of it?" Dinner came with Olivia's family, including Olivia's parents, Richard and Patricia Reed, who are rich, very rich. Richard was 55 years old, as successful lawyer and partner in a large firm, while Patricia was elite society woman. "Mr. Blackwell," said Richard, "Marcus said you're retired? What did you do?" Marcus interjected. "Dad was an accountant at small firm, and now retired where he lives very simply." "An accountant? A small firm?" A lie, but I didn't say anything and just smiled. "Yes, I live modestly, and I don't need much," I confirmed. Patricia observed. "How lovely. A minimalist lifestyle, very simple." The tone of voice was condescending where simple means poor. Marcus was uncomfortable and tense as he changed the subject. "Olivia's father is a partner in a big firm. Reed and Associates, very successful." Richard smiled. "Thank you, Marcus. I worked for 40 years, and now I live comfortably." Living comfortably meaning living richly, while we live simply and they live comfortably. After dinner, I spoke with Marcus. "Marcus, why did you lie?" "I wasn't an accountant." "Dad, I know, but Olivia's family is very high class and I didn't want to tell them your whole past," he explained. "My past?" "Marcus, I worked in the tech industry as a software engineer. So why are you embarrassed?" I questioned. "I'm not ashamed, Dad. I just simplified it where I said retired, and that was enough," he defended. "And accountant? Why did you say that?" I pressed. He hesitated. "Because Olivia's father is a lawyer at big firm while you worked at a small company, so it's not a fair comparison." "It's not a fair comparison where I'm inadequate, and not at Olivia's father's level." "I understand, Marcus. Whatever you say," I agreed. But inside I felt pain because my son was ashamed of me. In 2018, Marcus and Olivia were planning their wedding. A big wedding with 300 people at expensive venue. "Dad, the wedding is in June in Napa Valley at a vineyard. It's beautiful," he announced. "Wonderful, Marcus. How much will it cost?" I asked. "Olivia's family is paying because they insisted, saying, 'Our daughter's wedding is our gift,'" he explained. "Olivia's family is paying because I can't afford it as a poor retiree, right?" "Marcus, I want to contribute too. How much is needed?" I offered. "Dad, don't worry because Olivia's family is handling it, so you just come and that's enough," he dismissed. "Just come, be a guest and a visitor. Not a father, but just a guest." Wedding day came in June 2018 at Napa Valley, a magnificent place with 300 people, all rich and all upper class. I sat in the corner alone with no Margaret, no friends, and lonely. Marcus approached. "Dad, how are you? Are you okay?" "I'm fine, Marcus. The wedding is beautiful. And are you happy?" I asked. "Very happy, Dad. Where Olivia is perfect and everything is perfect," he stated. "Wonderful, son. I wish you happiness," I replied. But Marcus left quickly to talk to other guests, important people, while I stayed in the corner. After the wedding, Marcus and Olivia moved to Palo Alto, in a luxury apartment with monthly rent of $4,000. "Dad, would you like to see our new apartment?" he invited. "Of course, Marcus. When?" I agreed. "Next weekend, Saturday. But Dad, please take a taxi, please," he requested. "Why?" "I have my car," I questioned. "Dad, your car is too old as a 1998 BMW, and if the neighbors see it, what will they think?" he worried. "What will they think? Poor father-in-law with old car showing low class." "Okay, Marcus. I'll come by taxi," I agreed. That day I took a taxi for the first time where my own car was in the garage. But to spare my son the embarrassment, I took a taxi. Apartment was luxurious and modern as Olivia opened the door. "Mr. Blackwell." "Welcome." "Thank you, Olivia. Nice place," I acknowledged. Marcus gave me a tour showing 2 bedrooms, spacious living room, city view, and expensive furniture. "It's beautiful, Marcus, and I'm happy for you," I stated. But I felt like a stranger because this world isn't mine with luxury apartment and expensive things where I'm a simple man who drives an old car. January 2019 came when David called. Thomas, it's time for the annual advisory meeting, so can you come in February? Of course, David. When? I agreed. February 15th, Friday at the office with meeting with the executives where we'll discuss strategy, he outlined. Okay, David, I'll be there, I confirmed. But May came and Marcus made an offer. Dad, would you like to see my office? Tech Vision Solutions has very nice building that's modern. Of course, Marcus, when? I agreed. Next week, Tuesday at noon, but Dad, please take a taxi, okay? He requested. Again, a taxi and again, embarrassment. But this time I said no. Marcus, I'll come in my car, BMW. It works and no problem, I stated. But Dad, everyone there drives a Tesla where your car is old, he protested. Marcus, I'm comfortable in my car and I'll come Tuesday at noon, I insisted. He paused. Okay, Dad, but I'll just show you the office as quick visit, okay? Okay, Marcus, I agreed. That night, I thought about it where Marcus is embarrassed by my car, by me, and by my lifestyle. But he doesn't know the truth where I'm the founder of Tech Vision Solutions, and he works at that company, my company, but he doesn't know. Maybe it's time he found out, and maybe it's time for a lesson. I called David. David, I'm coming on Tuesday at noon, but Marcus will be there too because he invited me to the office. Great, Thomas. Will Marcus finally find out who his father is? David questioned. Yes, David, he will in the lobby in front of everyone because a lesson in shame is needed, I confirmed. I understand, Thomas. I'm ready and see you Tuesday, he agreed. Tuesday morning came, May 21st, 2019, sunny day. I stopped in the garage and looked at my car, 1998 BMW 5 Series, 21 years old with faded gray color, but the engine is perfect. Old friend, I said to the car, today is an important day where Marcus is ashamed of you, but he will learn because the man you carried is important. I started the engine with soft sound and reliable sound after 21 years where it never let me down. I drove to Palo Alto to the Tech Vision Solutions building, modern building with glass facade and new construction. Parking lot was full parking lot, showing Teslas, Porsches, Mercedes, shiny cars, and new cars. And my BMW, old and faded, but I parked there proudly. I got out as 3 young men in suits were in the parking lot, where they looked at my car and smiled with slight smile. One whispered to his friend where I heard, "Look at that car, antique. Who drives a car like that?" I walked toward them and smiled. I drive it. Good car and reliable. They were surprised and embarrassed. We're sorry, sir. We didn't mean any harm. It's okay. You're young and I understand. But an expensive car doesn't mean success, where a reliable car means smart choice, I stated. I entered the lobby, bright lobby, where the receptionist was young and pretty. Marcus was waiting in the lobby where he saw me and ran quickly. Dad, you're here. But the car, did you come in a BMW? He questioned. Yes, Marcus, in my car, I confirmed. His face was tense. Dad, I told you, a taxi. Marcus, my car is fine with no problem, so now show me the office, I instructed. We went to reception with young woman. Who are you visiting, sir? Marcus answered. I'm Marcus Blackwell, senior analyst, and I'm showing my dad the office as short visit. The receptionist typed on the screen showing my name, Thomas Blackwell. She paused, looked at the screen, and looked again as her face changed with shock. Mr. Blackwell? Thomas Blackwell. Yes. That's me. She stood up quickly. Sir, we weren't expecting you. I apologize. I'll notify Mr. Chen immediately. Marcus froze. What do you mean? Why is the CEO being notified? My father is just a visitor. The receptionist picked up the phone. Mr. Chen? Mr. Thomas Blackwell is in the lobby. Yes, sir. Right away, sir. Marcus looked at me shocked and confused. Dad, what's going on? Why the CEO? The elevator doors opened as David Chen stepped out, walking quickly and smiling with arms open. Thomas! Came a loud voice where everyone turned as the lobby went silent with everyone watching. David hugged me. My friend! Why didn't you tell us beforehand? We would have prepared. The executives are waiting. Marcus's mouth was open, completely frozen, watching and trying to understand. David turned to Marcus, smiling. Marcus, hello? How are you? You're doing well where I've seen the reports, and you're doing great. Thank you, Mr. Chen, Marcus stammered. David turned to me, then to Marcus. Marcus, I don't think you know your father's role in the company, so come and let's talk in the meeting room, where the managers will gather and they should meet your father, and you should learn who your father is. Marcus's face was as white as a sheet, showing shock and complete shock. I just smiled with calm smile. Let's go, Marcus. Time to learn. David took my arm. Thomas, meeting in 30 minutes, so let's have coffee in my office. Marcus, you come too. We got into the elevator as Marcus was silent, completely silent, thinking and trying to understand. The elevator went up to 3rd floor, the CEO floor. The doors opened, showing wide corridor, with glass offices where executives at their desks saw us, stood up, and looked at us respectfully. Mr. Blackwell, welcome. Thomas, good to see you. The legend is back. Marcus looks around confused. Dad, they know you? How? You'll find out soon, Marcus. Be patient, I assured. David's office was large office with city view, the CEO's office. We sat down as David brought coffee. Thomas, how are you? Are you okay? I'm fine, David. Alone, but I'm managing, I replied. It must be hard without Margaret where you miss her a lot, don't you? He observed. Every day, David, every day, I confirmed. Marcus was watching and listening. Dad, Mr. Chen knows you very well. How? David laughed. Marcus, you really don't know? Your father never told you? What didn't he tell me? Marcus questioned. Who founded Tech Vision Solutions, why this company exists, and your father's role, David revealed. Marcus looked at me. Dad, what is Mr. Chen saying? I took a deep breath. Marcus, sit down and listen because it's a long story. 30 minutes later, we were in the meeting room, large room with long table and 12 chairs. The executives entered one by one, all in suits with serious faces showing top-level executives. David sat at the head with me on his right, and Marcus across from him with bewildered face still trying to figure it out. Hello, everyone, said David. Today is a special day because we have Thomas Blackwell with us, our company's founding partner, and today we will pay tribute to him where some of you will hear for the first time how Tech Vision Solutions began. Everyone looked at me with respect as they applauded with polite applause. David continued. 1995, I was working at IBM in sales department, and Thomas was at IBM too as software engineer, where the two of us had a dream for our own company with our own rules. Thomas and I rented a basement office in Palo Alto with 2 desks, 4 computers, and 8 employees where we put everything into it, including our savings, our dreams, and everything, he explained. Marcus was listening intently because for the first time he was hearing his father's real story. David stated, the first 6 months brought no customers and no money where we almost went bankrupt. But Thomas didn't give up by coding every day and testing every night where he worked tirelessly. August 1995 brought our first big customer with a $250,000 project. And who coded it? Thomas, for 72 hours straight with no sleep, no food, just code and just work, he revealed. One of the executives, Sarah Martinez, the CFO, asked, Mr. Blackwell, 72 hours? How did you endure it? I smiled. Because Sarah, that project was the life of the company, where if we failed, Everything was gone, including home, savings, and dreams, so I had to endure. David continued. And after that project, the company grew slowly but steadily, where in 2000 we had 20 employees, 2005 brought 45 employees, 2010 showed 50 employees with $8 million in annual revenue. Marcus's eyes widened. $8 million? Yes, Marcus. In 2010, the company was very successful, where your father owned half of it with 50% stake while I had my 50%, David confirmed. Silence fell, heavy silence, as Marcus was thinking and calculating. David continued, but that year was a tragedy because Marcus, your mother Margaret, was diagnosed with cancer, pancreatic cancer that was terminal. Marcus bowed his head as he remembered those painful days. Thomas came to me and said, David, I'm stepping down from the company because I need to take care of Margaret in her final days where I need to be, with her. And he sold his shares 40% for $3.2 million, David revealed. Marcus was shocked. $3.2 million? Yes, Marcus. Your father was a successful businessman and a millionaire. But money wasn't as important as Margaret, where he chose his wife and left the company, David stated. One of the executives, James Wong, the CTO, spoke up. Mr. Blackwell, I joined the company in 2012 when you had already left, but I always heard about your legend as Thomas Blackwell, the coding genius. That's what everyone said. I smiled. Thank you, James. But I wasn't a genius where I just worked hard and that's all. David stated, Thomas is modest, but the truth is different because he laid the foundation for this company, where our code, the core of our code, is still what Thomas wrote in 1995, 24 years ago, and it still works. He turned to Marcus. Marcus, you work at this company as business analyst, where you do good work. But you know what? This building, this office, this job, it's all thanks to your father because he built it, he created it, and you are part of your father's legacy. Marcus cried silently with tears on his cheeks. I didn't know because Dad never said. Because Marcus, I said, I wanted to teach you humility, hard work, and deserving it, where if you had known my dad founded the company, maybe you would have become lazy, or maybe you would have felt entitled. But now you've done it on your own, including Harvard, MBA, getting hired, and getting promoted, all your own doing, not mine, I explained. David added, one more thing, Marcus. Your father stepped down from the company, but he stayed on as consultant with one meeting a year, where we discuss strategy, and he gets a consulting fee annually. How much? Marcus asked. $500,000 every year, where it increased as the company grew from $100,000 the first year to now $500,000, David revealed. Marcus froze. $500,000? Annually? Yes, your father is a rich man, Marcus, where he lives modestly, but he's rich with real estate investments and stocks, where his total net worth is at least $10 million, David stated. $10 million, where Marcus couldn't believe it, because his father, his poor retired father, was worth $10 million. The meeting ended as the executives left one by one, where they all shook my hand respectfully. Mr. Blackwell, it was an honor to meet you. I finally met the legend. Thank you, Mr. Blackwell, for everything. The room emptied, leaving only David, Marcus, and me. Marcus was sitting with head bowed, silent and thinking. Marcus, I said, we need to talk. He lifted his head with red eyes because he had been crying. Dad, I'm so sorry. So sorry. Why are you sorry, Marcus? I questioned. Because I was embarrassed for you, where I introduced you to Olivia's family as an accountant, saying small firm. But you're a company founder and a successful businessman, he confessed. And the car, I was embarrassed by your BMW saying old car and take a taxi because I wanted to look rich. But you were already rich, and I didn't know. he continued. My eyes filled with tears. Marcus, were you just embarrassed by the car, or were you embarrassed by me? He was silent for a long time. I was embarrassed by both, Dad, where the car is old. You live modestly. You don't buy expensive things. And Olivia's family is rich, very rich. So I thought you weren't as rich as them, and I was embarrassed. But I was wrong because you are richer, where you just don't show it, he acknowledged. David interrupted. Marcus, your father taught you modesty, hard work, and avoiding ostentation, where these are values, important values. But you misunderstood those values because modesty is not poverty, and avoiding ostentation is not failure, where your father chooses to drive an old car because it works and prefers not to buy expensive things because he doesn't need them, he explained. That's smart, Marcus, not weak, he concluded. Marcus cried loudly. I know, I understand now, but it's too late because I treated my father badly where I lied, I hid things, and I was ashamed. I went over to him and touched his shoulder. Marcus, you're just young and impressionable, where Olivia's world is different with luxury and showiness, and you wanted to fit into that world. But you forgot that real success isn't showiness, but substance, where you graduated from Harvard on your own. You found a job on your own, and you got promoted on your own, where these are real success, I stated. An expensive car is just a car, but character is everything, I concluded. Marcus hugged me tightly. Dad, will you forgive me? Please forgive me. I hugged him back. I already have, Marcus, but now you've learned life's lesson, and I hope you won't forget. David stood up. Thomas, Marcus, I'll leave you alone for your private talk. No, David, stay because you're family after 24 years in business and 24 years as friends, I insisted. David smiled. Thank you, Thomas. That evening, Marcus returned home with Olivia at luxury apartment. Olivia greeted him at the door. Marcus, how was the visit? Did your father see the office? Marcus sat down heavily. Olivia, sit down because we need to talk. What happened? Something bad? She worried. No, but I found out something about my father. Something important, he stated. Olivia sat down. Tell me. My father was a founding partner of Tech Vision Solutions, where he started it with David Chen in 1995, and he worked there for 15 years, where the company grew to have $8 million in revenue in 2010 with my dad as 50% partner, he revealed. Olivia was shocked. What? Your dad? But you said accountant, and you said small firm. I know. I lied because I didn't know where Dad never told me. And he lives modestly and drives an old car, so I thought he was poor, he explained. But he's not because he's rich with his consulting fee of $500,000 a year, and he has real estate investments with total value of at least $10 million, he continued. Olivia's mouth fell open. $10 million? My father-in-law is a millionaire? Yes, but he doesn't tell anyone where he lives modestly and doesn't buy things he doesn't need, Marcus confirmed. Olivia thought for a long time. Marcus, this changes everything because your father is a successful man. So why did you lie to my family? Marcus hung his head. Because your family is rich, very rich, where your father is a big lawyer and you live in luxury. So I thought my father wasn't on your level, and I was ashamed. But now I know your father might be richer where he just doesn't show it, he acknowledged. Olivia stood up, went to the window, and looked outside for a long time. Marcus, you disappointed me. What? Why? He questioned. She turned. Because, Marcus, I chose you, not your money and not your family's wealth, just you, including your character and your intelligence. But you were ashamed of your father because he didn't look rich, and that's superficial, Marcus. Very superficial, she stated. My family is rich, yes, but I didn't love you for your money, where I loved you for who you are. And your father. Whoever your father is, rich or poor, he's your father, where you should respect him and you shouldn't be ashamed, she declared. Marcus cried, You're right, Olivia. Absolutely right, where I acted stupidly and I was superficial thinking money was so important. Olivia came over and sat down. Marcus, what are you going to do now? I don't know. How do I make it up to Dad? How do I show him that I'm truly sorry? He questioned. Maybe you start by telling my family the truth about who your father-in-law is and what he did, and tell them you're proud and that you're not ashamed, she suggested. Marcus nodded. You're right. I will, where I'll call your mom and dad tomorrow, and I'll tell them everything. The next day, Wednesday, Marcus called Richard and Patricia Reed, Olivia's parents. Richard, Patricia, hello, it's Marcus, and can we talk? It's important, he requested. Of course, Marcus, go ahead, they agreed. It's about my father, Thomas, where last year I gave you the wrong information saying he was an accountant working for a small firm. But that was wrong, he began. My father started a technology company in 1995 called Tech Vision Solutions, with David Chen as partner, where he worked for 15 years and grew the company, where in 2010 it had $8 million in revenue. Very successful, he explained. Richard was surprised. Thomas? Your father started a company? Yes, and now he's a consultant making $500,000 a year with real estate investments, where he's a rich man, but he lives modestly and doesn't show it, Marcus confirmed. Patricia questioned, Marcus, why did you lie? Why did you say accountant? Marcus took a deep breath. Because I was embarrassed, where your family is very wealthy and lives luxuriously, while my father drives an old car and lives modestly, so I thought I wasn't at your level and I hid it. But I was wrong because my father may be richer, where he just doesn't show it, and I acted foolishly and superficially, and I'm sorry, he confessed. Silence fell, long silence, before Richard spoke. Marcus, thank you for your honesty, but I'm disappointed because we thought you were a sincere young man, but you lied and embarrassed your father. This is a character issue, Marcus, not money and not wealth, but character, he stated. I know, Richard, you're right where I was wrong, but I'm changing where I've learned, and I want to reintroduce my father properly, Marcus proposed. Patricia asked, Meaning? Dinner this weekend Saturday with you, Olivia, me, and my father at restaurant, where I'll introduce my father for who he really is. Thomas Blackwell, founder of Tech Vision Solutions, successful entrepreneur, and my hero, he outlined. Richard smiled as his voice changed, softer. Good idea, Marcus. Accepted for Saturday evening because we want to have a real conversation with Thomas. Saturday evening came, May 25th, 2019, at luxury restaurant in Palo Alto called The Alexander, 5-star. Table seats 6, including Richard and Patricia Reed, Olivia, Marcus, and me, Thomas Blackwell. I came in my old BMW and parked in the garage where the valet asked, Sir, shall I take the keys? Yes, please, be careful because it's old but valuable, I instructed. The valet smiled. Of course, sir, a 1998 BMW 5 Series, a classic car and beautiful. I went inside where Marcus was waiting in the lobby with Olivia. Dad! You came. He hugged me with warm hug, the first real hug in a long time. Of course I came, Marcus, because you invited me, I replied. Olivia approached. Welcome, Thomas. I'd like to really get to know you because last year we didn't get to know each other well enough. I smiled. Nice to meet you, Olivia. Yes, last year I kept quiet, but today we'll talk really. We went to the table where Richard and Patricia were sitting as they stood up with Richard extending his hand. Thomas, welcome, and it's good to meet you again, he greeted. Thank you, Richard, I replied. Patricia smiled. Mr. Blackwell, Marcus told us everything about your success and your company. Very impressive. Thank you, Patricia, but that's in the past where I'm retired now and living quietly, I stated. We sat down, ordered, and dinner began. Richard spoke. Thomas, Marcus told us about Tech Vision Solutions that you founded in 1995. How did it start? I explained briefly about leaving IBM, the partnership with David, the basement office, 8 employees, the first big project, and growth. Richard listened carefully. Impressive, Thomas. You are a true entrepreneur who took risks and succeeded. Thank you, Richard, but it wasn't easy with many tough days and many worries. But we believed, David and I, and we worked, I acknowledged. Patricia asked, and you stepped back in 2010, why? I paused. Margaret, my wife had cancer, pancreatic cancer that was terminal, where I wanted to be with her in her final days because that was more important than the company. Silence fell as Patricia's eyes welled up. I'm so sorry, Thomas, where Margaret was a lucky woman and you loved her very much. Yes, I loved her very much, and I always will, I confirmed. Richard stated, Thomas, you're a rich man where Marcus said $10 million net worth, but you live modestly with old car and simple life. Why? I smiled. Because, Richard, I have everything I need, including home, food, health, and Marcus, so what else is there? Buying a new car is just spending money where my old car runs, so why change it? Buying expensive things is just showing off and it doesn't make me happy, I explained. Happiness is in different things, including family, health, and peace where these can't be bought with money, I concluded. Patricia smiled. You're right, Thomas. So right. Because in our world, society's world, appearances matter, but you're different where substance matters to you. Yes, Patricia, I don't believe in appearances, but I believe in substance, I stated. Marcus interrupted. Richard, Patricia, I want to apologize to you because last year I misrepresented my father by calling him an accountant. But my father is so much more as an entrepreneur, a leader, and a devoted father. I was ashamed of him because he lives modestly and drives an old car. But I was wrong because he's smart, where he doesn't need appearances, because he has everything inside, he confessed. Now I'm proud, so proud of my father, and I'll tell everyone, my father is Thomas Blackwell, company founder, a successful man, and my hero, he declared. My eyes welled up because Marcus said he was truly proud for the first time. Richard stood up and raised his glass. To you, Thomas, to your success, to your character, and to what you've taught your son. Cheers. We all raised our glasses. Cheers. That evening, I was truly happy because Marcus had learned life's lesson and he wasn't ashamed anymore. August 2019 arrived. 3 months had passed since dinner. Marcus had changed and really changed where he was no longer ashamed of the old BMW, and in fact, he was proud of it. One day he invited me to the office. Dad, there's an important meeting today with a new client, and you should come too, please. Marcus, I'm retired where meetings aren't my thing, I declined. But Dad, they want to hear about the company's history and you tell it best, so please come, he insisted. Okay, Marcus, I'll come, I agreed. That day I went in the BMW and parked in the parking lot where Marcus was waiting with 3 young employees. Here's my dad! Thomas Blackwell, he announced. The young employees were the ones who laughed at me 3 months ago, but now they look at me differently with respect. Mr. Blackwell, it's an honor to meet you. We're finally seeing the legend, they exclaimed. Marcus stated, Yes, my dad, the company's founder since 1995, and I'm proud of him. We entered the meeting room where the client was a large tech company with a team of 5. David introduced us. Mr. Harrison, your team, let me introduce Thomas Blackwell, our company's founding partner since 1995. The client was surprised. "Mr. Blackwell, it's great to meet you. Tech Vision Solutions is your legacy and a legendary company." We talked as I told them about the company's history, including the challenges, the successes, and the lessons we learned. Marcus was watching proudly as his father was speaking and telling the legend. The meeting ended where the client was satisfied and the contract was signed as a $2 million project. Marcus hugged David. "Thank you, Mr. Chen, for inviting my father, because they were very impressed." David smiled. "Marcus, your father is the heart of this company, and he always will be." February 2020 arrived. Another 6 months had passed. Marcus started a tradition where every month he invited me to the office. "Dad, come and let's have lunch to meet the team." I went every month in the BMW, where now no one laughed, and everyone looked at me with respect. "Here's Mr. Blackwell. Welcome. The legend has arrived." "Mr. Blackwell, I have a question. How did you decide in 1995 to start the company?" I answered and explained as the young people listened and learned. Marcus greeted me in the lobby every single time. "Here's my dad, Thomas Blackwell, one of the company's founders." Pride was in his voice and pride was on his face where now he wasn't ashamed. One day, Olivia came too. "Father Thomas, I wanted to see it too, including Marcus's office and your company." "Welcome, Olivia," I greeted. We gave her a tour and showed her the offices, as Marcus said, in every department. "This is my father who worked here in 1995, where he wrote this code and managed these projects." Olivia was smiling and happy because her husband had changed, where he wasn't superficial anymore and had gained depth. May 2020 came. A year had passed since the office visit. Marcus called. "Dad, great news. Olivia is pregnant." I was shocked, happily shocked. "Really? A baby is coming?" "Yes. 3 months. You're going to be a grandfather," he announced. My eyes welled up. "Marcus, what joy." "Margaret would be so happy." "I know, Dad. I wish Mom were here because she would have seen her grandchild," he reflected. "She sees it, Marcus. She sees it from heaven, and she's smiling," I assured. "Dad, I have a request about the baby. If it's a boy, the name should be Thomas, your name, where the middle name could be John, but the first name Thomas in your honor," he proposed. I cried loudly. "Marcus, thank you. It's a great honor and a very great honor. Dad, you deserve everything because you taught me everything, including hard work, humility, and character, where I understood it late, but I understood. And I'll teach my son too to be like his grandfather," he promised. December 2020 arrived when the baby was born, a boy named Thomas John Blackwell. In the hospital, Marcus and Olivia were there with the baby in Marcus's arms. "Dad, come and meet your grandson," Marcus invited. I approached and looked at small face with brown hair and blue eyes who looks like Marcus. "Hello, Thomas. I'm your grandfather, Big Thomas, and you're little Thomas, where I'm proud of you. Proud even before you were born," I said. I held the baby and took him in my arms, my first grandchild for the first time. "Thomas, your grandfather promises you I will teach you everything, including hard work, honesty, character, and humility, where appearances don't matter, but substance matters," I pledged. Marcus cried, "Thank you, Dad. Thank you for everything." That day I felt it completely, where Margaret's words echoed. "Look at Marcus and live your life." I was looking at Marcus, grown up and mature, who will be a good father, a good husband, and a good man. And I was living my life, modest but happy, with old BMW and simple house, but rich with family wealth and the wealth of love. May 2021 arrived. 2 years have passed since the office visit. Marcus is still at Tech Vision Solutions, where now he's director and manager after getting promoted by working hard and deserving it. Every month he visits me and comes to my house with Olivia and little Thomas. "Grandpa! Grandpa!" Little Thomas runs at 18 months old, just started walking. "Hello, little Thomas." "Come here," I call. I pick him up. "What did we learn today?" Marcus laughs. "Dad, he's 18 months old and doesn't talk yet. But he's learning by watching and seeing, and I'm teaching him quietly," I state. I take him to my garage where the BMW sits, 23 years old now and still running. "Here, little Thomas, Grandpa's car, old but reliable where it works. And you don't need an expensive car, but just a car that runs," I explain. Marcus stands beside me. "Dad, you know what? I love this car now because this car is you, reliable, modest, and valuable. 2 years ago, I was ashamed because it was old, but now I'm proud because this car is a symbol of your character," he acknowledges. I smile. "Marcus, you've changed so much, and you've grown up so much where I'm proud of you. Dad, you changed me because that day at the office with David Chen and the executives who all told your story, that day I was embarrassed, but at the same time I woke up," he reflects. "I understand that real success isn't about show, but about substance and character, where you're a millionaire, but you live modestly. And that's power, real power," he states. That evening, Marcus, Olivia, and little Thomas stayed for dinner with home cooking. Simple food, but a family meal. At the table, Marcus spoke. "Dad, I want to say something officially." "Go ahead, Marcus," I encouraged. "I'm so sorry because 2 years ago I was ashamed of you, ashamed of your car, and ashamed of your lifestyle because you didn't look rich where I thought superficially," he confessed. "But you taught me a lesson, the greatest lesson, where real wealth isn't in appearances but in character. And you gave everything to me, to Margaret, and to the company, but you never bragged and you never showed off," he continued. "Now I want to live like that too, modest and substance-filled, because for little Thomas I want to be an example like you," he concluded. My eyes filled with tears. "Marcus, thank you, because this is the most beautiful gift. Your change." Olivia spoke too. "Father Thomas, thank you too, because Marcus was different 2 years ago, being superficial and showing off. But you changed him, where your lesson woke him up. Now he's a better husband, a better father, and a better man, all because of you," she added. That night before bed, I looked at Margaret's photo in my bedroom hanging on the wall. Margaret. Marcus has grown up and matured where he's no longer ashamed, but proud. And we have a grandson named Little Thomas who bears my name. So Thomas Margaret could be, but for now, Thomas John, I said. "You don't see it, but I feel it here beside me every day," I continued. "And I'm happy, alone but happy, because Marcus is fine, the family is fine, and everything is in place," I stated. "I love you, Margaret, and I always will," I concluded. I turned off the light and lay down peacefully. Because life was complete, modest but complete, and simple but meaningful. Old BMW, simple house, and retirement life, but rich, very rich. Because true wealth isn't in show, but in respect, in family, and in character. And I have it all. May 2025 arrived. 5 years have passed since that day in the parking lot. I'm 69 years old now, still driving the 1998 BMW that's now 27 years old, still running perfectly. Marcus is 41 years old, as vice president at Tech Vision Solutions, promoted twice more, earning it through hard work and dedication. Little Thomas is 5 years old now, attending kindergarten where he's bright, curious, and already showing interest in computers like his grandfather. Every Saturday morning, Marcus brings Thomas to my house for Grandpa's lessons, as they call it. "Grandpa, teach me about the computer today," Thomas requests with bright eyes. "Of course, my boy. Come here and let me show you how to write your first line of code," I invite. We sit at my old computer, the same one I've had for 15 years, still working perfectly. "Grandpa, why don't you have a new computer like Daddy?" Thomas asks innocently. "Because this one works perfectly, Thomas. And you know what I've learned? The newest thing isn't always the best thing, where what matters is whether it does what you need it to do, I explain. Marcus watches from the doorway, smiling. Dad, he asks me the same thing about your car every time we drive here. And what do you tell him, Marcus? I question. I tell him that Grandpa's BMW is the most valuable car in the world because it taught his father the most important lesson he ever learned, Marcus replies. That afternoon, David Chen visits for our now regular monthly lunches. Thomas, I have news, David announces. The board wants to honor you at the company's 30th anniversary celebration next month with a Lifetime Achievement Award. David, that's not necessary. I'm retired, I protest. Thomas, you built this company from nothing, where we're now worth $200 million with 300 employees. And the next generation needs to know the legend behind it all, he insists. Will Marcus be there? I ask. Of course, he's VP and he'll be presenting the award to you, David reveals. My eyes well up. Then I'll come. June 2025 came, the 30th anniversary celebration at Tech Vision Solutions. The ballroom is filled with 300 employees, board members, investors, and special guests. I arrive in my BMW, now polished and cleaned by Marcus himself that morning. Dad, your chariot awaits, Marcus joked while handing me the keys. The most valuable car in the parking lot. I park between a Tesla and a Porsche, where the valet's eyes widen. Sir, is that a 1998 BMW 5 Series? He asks. Yes, 27 years old and still perfect, I confirm. That's a classic, sir, and they don't make them like that anymore, he observes respectfully. Inside the ballroom, Marcus greets me with Olivia and Thomas. Grandpa! Everyone's here to see you, Thomas exclaims. The ceremony begins as David takes the stage. 30 years ago, two dreamers left the security of IBM to start something special in a basement with 2 desks, 4 computers, and 8 employees. One of those dreamers is here tonight. Thomas Blackwell, who not only co-founded this company, but whose code still runs at the heart of our systems today, he announces. The room erupts in applause as a video begins playing on the screens, showing old photos from 1995, including the basement office, the early team, and young Thomas and David. Employees who've worked here for decades share testimonials. Thomas taught me that excellence isn't about the tools you have, but the dedication you bring. His code from 1995 is still the most elegant I've ever seen. He chose his wife over wealth, and that taught us what really matters. Then Marcus takes the stage where his voice is strong and clear. 30 years ago, my father co-founded this company, but I didn't know that until 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I was ashamed of my father because he drove an old car, lived modestly, and didn't show his success. And I introduced him to people as just a retired accountant because I thought he wasn't successful enough, he confesses. The room is silent as everyone listens. But on May 21st, 2019, I brought my father to this office and discovered the truth. The poor retired dad I was ashamed of was actually the legendary founder everyone respected, he continues. That day, I learned the most important lesson of my life. True wealth isn't in appearances but in character. True success isn't in showing off but in substance. And true love means teaching hard lessons even when it hurts, he states. My father is my hero, not because he's a millionaire, but because he taught me what really matters. And Dad, I'm so proud to present you with this Lifetime Achievement Award, he concludes. I walk to the stage as Marcus hands me a crystal trophy engraved with Thomas Blackwell, founder, innovator, teacher, 1995 to 2025. We embrace as the room gives a standing ovation. I take the microphone with tears in my eyes. Thank you, everyone. But I want to say something to my son. I turn to Marcus. Marcus, 5 years ago you thought I was poor because I drove an old car. But the truth is, I'm the richest man in the world, not because of money, but because I have you, I have Olivia, I have Thomas, and I have this legacy. The BMW taught you that value isn't in appearance, and I'm proud that you learned the lesson. But I'm more proud that you're teaching it to your son, I state. This award isn't for me, but for every parent who chooses substance over show, who teaches by example rather than words, and who knows that the greatest wealth we can give our children isn't money but character, I conclude. The room erupts again as employees wipe their eyes and parents hug their children. That evening after the celebration, Marcus, Olivia, Thomas, and I stand in the parking lot around the old BMW. "Dad, you know what?" Marcus says, "I want to buy this car from you." I'm surprised. "Marcus, why would you want this old car?" "Because, Dad, this car is part of our family history, where it's the car that taught me who I really am, and when Thomas is old enough, I want to teach him to drive in this car, so he learns the same lesson," he explains. "Marcus, you can't buy it because I'm giving it to you, but on one condition," I state. "What condition, Dad?" he asks. "You keep driving it. You don't restore it or change it. You let it be exactly what it is, old, modest, and valuable," I instruct. "And when little Thomas is old enough, you tell him the story about the day his father was ashamed of this car and what he learned," I add. Marcus hugs me. "I promise, Dad. I promise." Little Thomas tugs my sleeve. "Grandpa, can we go for a ride? One more time?" "Of course, my boy, let's go," I agree. We all pile into the BMW where I drive slowly through Palo Alto with Marcus in the passenger seat, Olivia in the back with Thomas. "Grandpa, why do you drive so slow?" Thomas asks. "Because, Thomas, life isn't about how fast you go, but about noticing what's around you. And this old car reminds me to slow down and appreciate every moment," I explain. We drive past the old basement where Tech Vision started, past the hospital where Margaret died, past Marcus's first apartment, and finally back to my simple house. "This is your heritage, Thomas," Marcus tells his son. "Not the company and not the money, but the values that built everything: hard work, humility, character, and love." That night, I sit in my living room looking at Margaret's photo. "Margaret, we did it. We raised a good man who learned the hard way, but learned completely, and now he's teaching our grandson. The BMW is 27 years old and still teaching lessons, and I'm 69 years old and still learning," I reflect. "Thank you, my love, for giving me Marcus, for believing in our dreams, and for watching over us all these years," I conclude. The next morning, I wake up to find Marcus and Thomas in my driveway washing the BMW together. "Grandpa, we're making it shiny," Thomas calls out. Marcus looks up. "Dad, Thomas wanted to help take care of Grandpa's special car, so I thought we'd start teaching him responsibility." I watch from the window as grandfather, father, and great-grandson work together on the old BMW, and I realize this is true wealth: legacy, love, and lessons passed down through generations. If you liked this story, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts about this story in the comments. Click on the box on the left to listen to the next story.